Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem, Chakwadash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is, and what will you do in the day of visitation? And pretty much this is centered around a video I was watching earlier. You know, the select it for a moment. Damn, just forgot the brother's name. The priest Sha'ar out of the Dallas camp, his name just escaped me for a minute. And pretty much he was doing a lesson. And the name of the lesson, let me see. Just bear with me. Because I want to highlight something out of that particular verse that he was speaking on. He was speaking about the term that the elder apostle Gabar went into on the street speaking, which he called it. The name of the video that the brother put up, which GMSA, he has risen 144. Elon Musk, aka Kikius Maximus, ties with the hammer of the earth. And pretty much the apostle Gabar mentioned that, in his, on the street speaking that the apostles and the bishop did this past Saturday. And he happened to actually go into it. And he went to the scripture in Jeremiah, which we're going to read right now, the 50th chapter. And the first time I heard about this scripture here, or the word Marathaim, really was from the priest Yashalam, which brought it up to my attention years ago. And he mentioned, I forget exactly how he worded it. It was so long ago. But, it ties into America, but you're going to go into the word itself. But then I also, at the same time, went into the word Pekod. All right. And these two words here, which are pretty much names for, Babylon the Great, which is America, are very heavy in itself. You could say they're like nomen omens, future telling. So when you go here, Jeremiah 15:21 says, go up against the land of Marathaim, even against it, and against the inhabitants of Pekod, waste and utterly destroy after them, saith Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and do according to all that I have commanded thee. And when we look up this word Marathaim, right, it's the word Marthayim, which Marthayim goes back to the word Mar, which means bitter or bitterness. And that is what America means. When you look down here, Marathaim, double rebellion. And for your double rebellion, because you should know better because you have the book. You claim to believe in the book. I'm talking about you American Edomites, so-called American Edomites. You claim to believe in the book. You claim that you're the people of the Lord. You claim that America was established upon Judeo-Christian principles, but you don't follow what the scriptures, say. So you are in double rebellion because you have all of these you have the scriptures first and foremost. You have the prophets, and then you have all of these examples in history of different nations that were destroyed for being rebellious against the Lord, yet you still push this wicked, world and vibration upon the entire world. So you're going to get double for everything. So it says here, another name for Babylon, an epithet or name of Babylon, okay? It says a symbolic name of Babylon. So it means double rebellion, bitterness. And that is exactly what America means. Amargo or Amerigo, America, or Amarga, which means bitter. That's a Spanish word that means bitter. All right. Then when we go to the word Pekod, and we'll go back. The word Pekod is the word Pakwawad. And the word Pakwawad means visitation. So for this double rebellion, your payment or your bitterness is going to be destruction upon you, right? It says here, punishment, an allegorical name of Babylon. See, so this is another allegorical name for Babylon. All right. And this is dealing with America, which is Babylon the Great. And they are going to be visited because they have been, charged. And the Lord said he will not acquit the wicked. Let's get that real quick, and then we'll go to the other precept. Let's go to Nahum chapter 1 and verse 3. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is slow to anger. And the Lord being slow to anger, he hasn't really opened up on Esau yet. And Esau just happens to be, which happens to be the Most High's whipping stick, also happens to be the individual that the Lord is reserving for the last great ass whooping of the earth. Romans 9:22. What if the Most High, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction? So you are the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction. And this stems all the way down to the two sons of Isaac and Rebekah, which is Jacob and Esau. Jacob is the vessel unto honor. Esau is the vessel unto dishonor. And these are the vessels of wrath, because these are the people of the Lord's wrath. Let's get one more. Isaiah. Because the Lord has indignation against you, heathen, forever. Isaiah 34:5. You were basically created to be destroyed. Let's see. I'm going to come back to this. But let me get this precept and then we'll go back. Proverbs 16:4. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai had made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. So he created them to be destroyed. All right. So going to Isaiah 34:5. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Why? Because when Yahushai comes back, he's going to do easy work. He's going to make easy work of Esau's, planes, his stealth bombers, his drones, his helicopters, anything that's flying up there that is set up for war. The Lord's going to make easy work. That's why it says his sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, which is the Greek way of saying Edom, which the name Edom goes back to the Hebrew word Adawam, which the word Adawam means red. Okay? It's different, totally different than the name Adama. Adama, which is Adam, means ground. Another name for ground is Adama with a ha at the end, because the earth is considered to be feminine. All right, so Adam, Adama, means of the ground. Idumea, Edom, Adawam, means red. Two different words. Okay, it says, and upon the people, not just the man, because you have a lot of people out there say, well, God only hated Esau. He didn't hate all of them. He just hated the Edomites. It didn't say he hated the Edomite. Well, it says, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. And it also says in Malachi, the first chapter, that Esau is the people who the Lord had indignation forever. And even these scholars came to the conclusion that Edom figures prominently in prophetic scriptures to be the only nation of the only neighbor of Israel not to receive any promise of mercy from the Most High. See, it says the sword of the Lord is filled with blood; it is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, dealing with the peoples, the militaries, and the peoples that are going to be pretty much burnt up on the altar of America, which is what Elder Pastor R calls it, the altar. With the fat of the kidneys of rams, for the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai had the sacrifice in Basra. This is another code name for America. And a great slaughter in the land of Idumea, which is America. Let's see what this word, this is one of the capitals, or the capital of Esau. Batazara. Okay, sheepfold of fortress. Here goes fortress, which makes more sense that it would be fortress. A town in Edom, a town in Moab. So the town in Edom, which Basra is a fortress, and America is a fortress. It is an empire. It is protected by many different militaries. They have 6 branches of the military. So it is a fortress. It's a force to be reckoned with too. They have a great military. They have one of the most powerfulest military, if not the powerfulest military on the planet, along with her allies. EU, NATO, which really NATO, which EU, some EU nations are part of NATO. So the Lord has a controversy with you for what you did to his people, and you are the people of the Most High's curse, and he's going to bring judgment upon you. All right, so going back to Nahum 1 and 3, it says the Lord is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. See? So the Lord is not going to acquit you. He's not going to give you clemency. He's not going to let you off a good time served, because you have not paid for your crimes, and you've held yourself guiltless, but you're not guiltless. You are guilty. Naqua, right? To be empty, to be clear, be pure, be free, be innocent, be desolate, be cut off. So you're not going to be set free. You're not going to be clear of the charges. You're not going to be pure of the charges. Be exempt from punishment. So you're not going to be exempt from punishment. Why? Because although you didn't punish yourself for what you did, the Lord is going to punish you. And that's why you're being reserved for the end. And that's why these international bankers, ain't nothing that really happens to them. They're living high off the hog, but the time is coming for your judgment. You will be judged. And the word Pequod or Pekod, which goes to the Hebrew word Pakwawad, means visitation. And the Lord is going to visit you. So, we'll come back to this, but let's go from there to the book of Isaiah, chapter 10 and verse 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees. Here goes your draconian legislation that you're passing, with the notion, I guess, for lack of better words, that is benevolent, that is really for the help of the people. Are you so concerned for the safety of the people? And, so you pass this legislation that's really unrighteous because it puts more hell and taxation on the people than it helps them. It puts more hell on the poor, and it gives you more benefits. So the ones that really benefit are the ones that are high up on the ladder. Like Meyer Amshabar said, give me control of a nation's money, and I care not who writes his laws. Why? Because if you control the money system, the printing of money, the making of money, what you do through the Federal Reserve, you control what goes into legislation. Because guess what? These different, major corporations, which are owned by you, the international bankers, they're the ones that, fund these different mayors, senators, congressmen, people that hammer out policies and legislation to be put into the books. And who do they benefit? They benefit the bankers. They benefit these large corporations. It's all a racket. So these unrighteous decrees that you're pushing out there, you're putting them into law. And you know that it's wrong. And you have the scriptures to tell you what's right and what's wrong. Let favor be shown to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. It says, and that right grievousness. So you are writing into existence, into law, grievousness. These things are grievous to bear, to the working class. And that's why you had 3 classes of people. You had the poor, the middle class, and the super rich, or the rich or super rich. But now it's dwindling down to just the poor, and pretty much super poor, and the super rich. So the word grievousness is the word aimal, see? And aimal goes back to the word wicked in Job, the 20th chapter, which means laborer or toiler. All right? So toil, trouble, labor. Trouble, mischief, toil, labor. So the ones that are really being affected by your legislation that you're passing that is unrighteous are the working class, the poor, the ones that are catching hell under you. NLT. What sorrow awaits the unjust judges and those who issue unfair laws. NIV, woe to those who make unjust laws, to those who issue oppressive decrees. See? And who are you oppressing? The people, the poor of the people. That's a good precept. Proverbs 28:15, as a roaring lion and a raging bear, so is a wicked ruler over the poor people. And that's exactly what you're doing. That's why it says, when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. But when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. So if this world that's being run by the small hats, even though they deny it, if it was a righteous rule, if they were really the righteous people, then the whole world would be rejoicing because they have a foothold in every major thing on the planet, although they'll deny it, you know? So if they were righteous, people would be thriving, people would be happy, people would be joyous. The earth would be under a different vibration. But it's not. Why? Because the people that are running it are the wicked. NIV, woe to those who make unjust laws, to those who issue oppressive decrees. I read that already. All right, so you get the idea. It says, which they have prescribed. See, prescribed. When the doctor gives you a prescription, that's a pre-written, paper, for lack of better words, or order for you to go pick something up at the pharmacy. So these devils, they pre-write these things, and then they are. That's when you pre-write it. It's called a bill. A bill is not a law. A bill is a suggestion for a law. It passes through Congress. The congressmen, senators, or whatever, they sit down, they analyze it, they give their take on it, and then eventually, if enough of them vote for that bill, it becomes a law. Once it becomes a law, it has teeth, and they enforce it by their police and whatever other, mode that they do it by. Then it says here to turn aside the needy from judgment, to show you that the word grievous, which is aimal, which means the toilers, the laborers, are being turned aside by these unrighteous or these wicked laws that you're putting into place, to turn aside the needy from judgment and to take away the right from the poor of my people, which is mainly the main thing. You are mainly oppressing the poor of the Lord's people, which are the Israelites. Why? Because the curses state that we would be in the curse in the city. We would be, at the lowest lowest part of the totem pole. The scriptures say that the enemies, these nations, would get above us very high. They will lend to us, and we will not be able to lend to them. So we're under your mercy, and we know that your mercy ain't shit. Tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. So you don't give a shit about yourself. So why would you give a fuck about us? They don't care about us. It says that widows may be their prey, see, and that they may rob the fatherless. So your whole thing is about, removing inheritances, which are lands and substances, from the poor of the people and from people in general, and putting it in your pocket, in your coffers. And what will you do in the day of visitation? This is where we get the title for the lesson. And what will you do in the day of visitation? NLT, what will you do when I punish you? Because the Lord will not acquit you. It says, and in the desolation which shall come from far. See, because those missiles that are going to be shot over to the side of the world from Russia, from China, from Pakistan, from India, and from those so-called European nations, African nations, whoever got the missiles that are going to be shot, they're going to come from a far place. They're going to come from far. Matter of fact, Shalakia. Let's go to 2nd Ezra 15. You know what? It's the 16th chapter. 13, just go straight to the point. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow, which are your nuclear silos. His arrows, which are the missiles that he shooteth, are sharp. Why? Because they're not going to miss and shall not miss. Why are they sharp? Because the Spirit of the Lord is going to be in them. You know, Ezekiel 38 tells us that the presence of the Lord is going to be in the missiles. So they're not going to miss the target and shall not miss when these missiles, begin to be shot into the ends of the world, because they're coming from the east to the west. Because all of those nations that we mentioned before are in the east, and they're going to shoot those missiles from the east, and they're going to come to the west, to the ends of the earth. Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again. Because once they go out them silos, they ain't coming back until they come upon the earth. See, because they're going to go up and then they're going to come down. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out. Why? Because you ain't going to be able to quench it. It's going to burn for a long time till it consume the foundation of the earth, meaning it's going to consume the governing empire, or the glue that's holding together all these other empires, because America is in control of the world. This is that great city, Babylon the Great, which ruleth over the kings of the earth. See? And it's no coincidence that the American dollar, US dollar, is the world reserve currency. Even though nations are opting out of it now, but the dollar still, has sway on the earth. You see? So going back to Isaiah 10 and 3, and what will you do in the day of visitation? Oh, wait a minute. Let's see something. I am curious. Look at that. Visitation, and day of visitation. Pakwada. What did we read in Jeremiah? It said what? Pekod. Check that out. Pekod. Pakwawad. Which goes back to the word pakwad, which the word visitation is the word pakwada, which is a feminine form. Pakwawad, visitation, right? It says over here, an allegorical name of Babylon. And here the Lord said, what are you going to do in the day of visitation, or in the day of Pakwada? Oversight, care, custody, mustering, visitation, store. So a visitation. Punishment, because that's how the Lord is going to visit you, by punishing you. You're being set up for judgment. America, Babylon the Great. So let's go back. So back in Isaiah chapter 10, verse 3. And what will you do in the day of visitation, and in the desolation which shall come from far? See? There's missiles. To whom will you flee for help? And where will you leave your glory? Because the Lord is, spewing shameful, spewing on your glory. So who are you going to run to? Where are you going to run to? Inside joke. Who are you going to run to? Your allies ain't going to be fucking with you. Your allies are going to be wanting to put you down. They want to put you down right now. Let's go to Revelation chapter 17 and verse 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. The 10 horns represent the European Union, which was the EEC, or European Economic Community. Now they amassed over 27 member nations, but it started off with 6, which then it extended in the 80s into the 90s. It extended to 12, but it's really 10 when you really look at the members. These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, which is America, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues, and the 10 horns, this is the script verse, which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate America, shall hate the whore, and shall make her what? Desolate and naked. How? And shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. What is that fire? Those nuclear missiles. All right. So even your allies ain't messing with you. So who are you gonna run to? Who are you gonna flee for help to? You know, and where will you leave your glory? Because these nations, they can't stand you. Even your own kind can't stand you. So who are you gonna run to? This is Obadiah chapter 1 and 7. All the men of thy confederacy, or your allies, have brought thee even to the border. They really don't want nothing to do with you. The only reason they still deal with you to a certain degree right now is because of whatever benefits, whatever little benefits that they can get out of you. Other than that, you know, and then they're bound by that contract of either NATO or the EU. But there's going to come a point they're going to be like, nah, we can't do this no more. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. Why? Because you deceived them. And you are that little horn, not no Antichrist. That bullshit about the Antichrist. The little horn in Daniel, we're seeing it come to being fulfilled right now. No, it's not. That already took place. Well, actually, the little horn in Daniel 7 is taking place now, and that's America. It ain't talking about no goddamn one Antichrist. There's no such thing as one Antichrist. There's many Antichrists. Daniel chapter 7 and 20. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, the other which came up, which is a little horn in Daniel 7, is America. Totally different from the little horn in Daniel 8. And before whom 3 fell, that goes into history, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellow. See? So they have that bold look looking down on these, you know, other so-called European nations, which they're supposed to be, you know, allies. All right, let me see something. They're supposed to be allies, but they're not, you know, because eventually they're going to turn on you. And that's why it says here in Obadiah, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. Right, because now they're getting power, they're getting help other places. That's why you have places like Turkey and others that are joining league with Russia. And here it is, they're supposed to be EU NATO members. And they're starting to defy whatever you say, because whatever you make a decision, it benefits America, but it shits on them so-called European nations. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. So you're not going to understand why, because you know you're a brute. A brute does brute things. He offends everybody. He does all kind of shit, and then doesn't realize, you know, that they were a brute. And then when people, you know, start distancing themselves from him, they're gonna be like, well, why are they doing that to me, man? You know, look at how you treated your own allies. So if you think if they treat their own kind like that, what the fuck do you think they're gonna do with us? Hey, Barakatah Yahweh Bashem Yahushai for his mercies and for his protection over us, and his hand, his merciful hand over us. Otherwise, we'd be finished. So Isaiah 10, let's read that again. And what will you do in the day of visitation and in the desolation which shall come from far? To whom will you flee for help, and where will you leave your glory? Without me, they shall bow down under the prisoners, and they shall fall under the slain. For all this, his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. And Jake, if Jake don't get it together, they're gonna be missile food too. O Assyrian, which is another code name for America, the rod of mine anger and the staff in their hands is mine indignation. And you could also apply this to Jake too. You know that they're what you're gonna do in the day of visitation. You're gonna flee to Esau for help, not to the Lord. And what you think the Lord gonna do to you? You know, I will send him against an hypocritical nation, and against the people of my wrath will I give him a charge to take the spoil and to take the prey and to tread them down like the mire of the streets. Jake gonna get messed up out here, but Esau gonna get messed up too. All right, I'll read a couple of these precepts. Proverbs 10 and 2. Let me see. Matter of fact, let me start here. Jeremiah, Nahum 3 and 1. Woe to the bloody city. This was dealing with ancient Nineveh, but now we apply it to America because they pretty much took the place of Nineveh. It says, it is full of lies and robbery. The prey departed not. Yeah, we're still under your hands. Jeremiah 51:11. Make bright the arrows, missiles, gather the shields. The Lord hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, which are the Russians. For his device is against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple. Right. That's that controversy of Zion. Proverbs 10 and 2. Treasures of wickedness profit nothing, but righteousness delivereth from death. Sirach 4 and 5. And Shalom to you, Akim. He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his goods. Yeah. Ecclesiasticus 2:17. They that fear the Lord will prepare their hearts and humble their souls in his sight, saying, we will fall into the hands of the Lord, and not into the hands of men, right, which is Esau, other nations, for as his majesty is, so is his mercy. Proverbs 126 through 28. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind. Yeah, that's right. Jeremiah 50 verse 9. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations, which are Russian, so-called Russian nations, and others up in the north, from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be expert. Her arrows shall be expert man. None shall return in vain. I think there was something you missing in here somehow. Isaiah 13:17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. Right, that's the Russians. Which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Why? Because the Lord said he's going to put an evil thought in the heart of the king of Babylon. I'm sorry, in the king of Gog. You know, Salaki, I got it mixed up. He's going to put an evil thought in the heart of Gog, and they're going to say, you know what, the hell with it. It's going down. And then they're going to shoot those missiles. So America is Marathaim, or double rebellion, or bitterness, and also Pekat, which means visitation. And what will you do in the day of visitation? So with that, I pray that you brothers and sisters have been edified. To the next time I say Shalom.